Hi, everyone. My name is Megan O'Rourke, and I'm the Associate Director of Regional Programs for the Office of Alumni Relations at USD. I am also a proud member of the class of 2015. We're happy to have you for today's Torero Club event, Navigating Uncertainty as an Entrepreneur, featuring Elvis Babila, class of 2010, owner and founder of Soji Cleaners, a cleaning company located in Illinois and New York. Today's a special regional club session as it is brought to you by the New York Torero Club, but features Elvis, who lives in Chicago. During this time at home, we realized that time and geography are no longer a barrier, and because Elvis's business and impact covers more than just one location, we are happy to bring this event to both our New York and Chicago Toreros, among others who logged in today. Before we begin the session, I would be remiss if I did not address the challenges we have faced this past year. However, through all of the hardships and uncertainty, our Torero community has been empathetic and resilient. For those who have tuned in live and for those who will be watching at a later time, we hope you are doing well and are pleased that you took the time to join us for this USD alumni event. During our time at home, the Alumni Association staff is continuing our efforts to keep alumni engaged with and connected to the university, in addition to providing virtual events that are of the most need to our alumni, allowing them to learn something new and sometimes to take a break and to have some fun. These events include our Alumni and Alumni Business Spotlight Series, as well as various informational and interactive sessions led by alumni who are experts in their field, such as today's event. Last but not least, the Alumni Association is excited to announce that Hire USD is back. This campaign is an effort from the Alumni Association and the Career Development Center to build awareness about the importance of Toreros hiring Toreros. If you or your company have a position open, consider USD first. For more information on everything I listed above, please visit our website at toreronetwork.sandiego.edu. We will begin today's session with a Q&A between Elvis and myself, and then we will finish with audience Q&A. So please feel free to put any questions that you have for Elvis in the Q&A feature. Let's get to it. I would like to introduce today's featured guest, Elvis Babila. Elvis is the owner of Soji Cleaners, a boutique multi-location cleaning and dry cleaning company operating in New York and Northern Illinois. Prior to founding Soji Cleaners, Elvis worked for IBM and GE Ventures as a corporate strategist focused on AI applications and emerging technologies. Elvis also spent 7 years at Caterpillar Inc. as a design and field engineer focused on oil and gas, power generation, and construction industry designs. Elvis received his MBA from Columbia Business School, a master's degree in material science and engineering from Columbia University, and a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and physics from the University of San Diego. Welcome, Elvis.
Thank you, Megan. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. And I hope everything goes well.
I'm sure it will. Well, we will go ahead and get started. So today we will chat about your latest company, Soji Cleaners, but you have been an entrepreneur with multiple business ventures for quite some time. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what you've been up to since USD?
So thank you so much. So as Megan mentioned, I graduated from USD 2010. And when I left USD, I stayed in San Diego for a little bit. I worked for Solar Turbines, which is part of Caterpillar. So, and with that 7 years I was in Caterpillar, I moved from different roles. That's field engineering, and also mechanical design. And eventually, I realized that I was almost pigeonholed within the engineering part of things. And now I wanted to gain some business acumen. And because of that, I decided to go back to business school. And then, so I moved over to New York City, went to Columbia Business School. And while at Columbia Business School, I got a material science degree and as well as an MBA. After that, I've always had the knack for entrepreneurship, But the only thing is, there are many things, I'm always afraid, right? Anybody who wants to leave their jobs, you're always afraid of that, they always call it the golden handcuff. So I'm always afraid to leave my job. And I'm also, it's also scary to leave. So after I went in thinking I was going to be an entrepreneur, but when I got into school, I decided, no, I'm going to stay within the corporate world. It was nicer. I would have got a better salary and all of that. Got in, I started working for GE Ventures. So there's GE Ventures. I don't know if most of you know, GE Ventures is the venture capital arm of General Electric. Right now they have discontinued it, but it was, when I was there, was a relative, I think it was the fifth largest VC at that point. So there was a lot going on. There was a lot of learning. And while I was there, I realized I wanted to do technology and focus on technology. So I went to IBM, worked for IBM. I loved it at IBM. There was a lot going on, lots of artificial intelligence. They were ahead of anything technology at that point. But as an entrepreneur, you always have that at the back of your mind, which is this what I really want to do? Yes, it is scary to start a company, but it's also dangerous to stay and do what you feel as if you don't like, or what that's not your destiny. And from there, while I was there, I slowly moved into entrepreneurship. So I was actually working and also starting a company. There I started a healthcare company, which is a home healthcare company. And many people will be like, you don't have any background in healthcare. I just thought it worked. And the reason I chose a home healthcare business is because while I was at GE Ventures, we had funded lots of companies that were healthcare companies. And I thought, okay, maybe that's somewhere to go. But many people say, why didn't you use something technology-based or something like that? I usually play things a little bit safe. So I'm always on the safe side. And the reason for that is if it was a technology company, I needed a lot of capital. But as a home healthcare business, I did not need a lot of capital. So I started that business. And eventually, last year, the business went well, and a private equity company contacted me, and we exited the company. Very good. So I was happy with that. And with that, I saw that I had this flexibility. When you have enough capital now, what am I going to do? So I decided to step away completely from corporate America and decided to start my own company. And that's how I started Soji Cleaners. Why cleaning, right? People always ask, why is cleaning? Why not? I don't know. Why not anything? So originally I wanted to start a technology business, but more in the service space. So while doing my researching the market and all of that, I started home cleaning because I saw that it was a cash positive business. The barrier to entry is low. I did not need a lot of capital to start. So this company actually, although it's a company on its own, it's actually, I will say, it's a pilot program, which we want to use technology to run the businesses as we move forward to scale, and as well as introduce that technology into all other businesses. So right now we're building everything in-house. We build all the technologies in-house, but we haven't yet started implementing it into our business here. And that's who I am. Sorry, I took a lot of time.
No worries, that was great. Thank you so much for walking us through that. As you can see, everyone on the call, that Elvis has been an entrepreneur at heart for a long time. So it's really interesting to hear about the other ventures that you have. And then there's also one more, but we'll get into that a little bit later, I think. So that will be fun for the audience. But you mentioned, the hesitation and the worry about starting your own company, and there's always going to be that. So can you talk a little bit more about that? How do you navigate uncertainty as an entrepreneur? What made you decide, hey, this is it. This is the leap of faith I'm going to take. And especially during this time, right? Because you started Soji during the pandemic. and you're or before the pandemic, and you're expanding Soji during the pandemic, which is a really interesting time to look to expand. So can you elaborate on that?
So in terms of why did I, take the leap of faith, I would say I will say I'm very safe on how I move. So there's always that calculated risk, right? Because there are many people who have a lot of things in their life. For example, people have kids, people are married, people have student debt and all of that. So for somebody like me, I could not just, take a leap of faith into entrepreneurship totally. And that's fine. There are many people who have many ways. For example, you have people who leave their jobs, leave everything, and start a very high risk entrepreneurship. Most of those companies, when they exit, they make billions of dollars. I was not looking for something like that. So I usually say it's good for you to know, or they say, cut your coat. In my country, there's a saying that they say, cut your coat according to your size. So you should know where your capabilities start and where it ends. And I knew that I have a wife, and when I left business school, I had some debt. So with that, I could not completely get into entrepreneurship. So you can always start slowly. And that's the route I took. And one other thing that I took an entrepreneurship class while I was at Columbia, and the professor told me he's like, the best time to start a company is when you still have a job. And the reason for that is because you can make all kinds of risky decisions, but also you can also see how things go, because okay, I can try and push the limits and push the limits. So that's why, sorry for that. That's why I decided to start at that moment. In terms of when I started Soji Cleaners, I started Soji Cleaners 2 months before the pandemic. And I just started it was the easiest thing to get into. It was easier because it's easier to scale, not necessarily in terms of the people, but when we infuse our technology. And that's why I decided to use. 3 months later, it became something that I realized, many people need it, because we went for almost 2-3 months with zero revenue. And the reason for that is because we had there's a lot of competition, and many people did not clean their houses as now they do. So it was almost a right time. And the pandemic helped because we had a lot of time when many people were afraid to have people into their house. So during that time, we started the company, and we started pivoting. And to step backwards, the company started as a laundry and dry cleaning pickup company. But during the pandemic, we pivot, and then we introduced a new offering, which is the home cleaning aspect of the business.
Great. And so what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned? You provided a couple that you learned in business school, but what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way from owning your own business?
Oh, yes, definitely. Every day I learn. Even now, I'm still learning. And there's no amount of schooling you're going to do that's going to actually prepare you for an entrepreneurship. The only way to do is just start it, right? So there are many things. I have maybe 10 or something. So I'll just start listing them up. There's no right time to start a business. So for example, if you have an idea and you want to move forward, just start it, because you never know where it's going to take you, and it's never going to be perfect. For example, if I was waiting for Soji Cleaners to be perfect, I will tell you, we are not even perfect right now. Our website crashes all the time. There are many things. We have problems every day. So there's no right time for that. The second thing as I told you earlier, know yourself, know your limits. So I've had a lot of times when I've started, I thought, okay, I'm able to do something. And I realized actually I don't know how to do it. And this is because when I was in college, when I was in San Diego, I was younger. I was about 10 years, 11 years younger. I used to go without sleep. But now I cannot do that. So when I am taken on task, I always say, oh, I'm able to do it. Then I realize actually I'm not that strong that much. Then another thing is always take the risk, calculated risk. Calculated risk, some would say, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how to explain it. So you have to actually come up with a plan. And with that plan, you have to also look at, okay, even though many people have not made it, you are able to make it. Because as an entrepreneur, sometimes people look at you as if you're crazy, right? If people don't look at you as if you're crazy, you'll not be able to do it. I had a great job. I've always had really great jobs. So when I left my job, people were like, why will you leave a job that pays you almost 500,000? Why will you leave a job that pays you almost 400,000? And then you tend to realize that if you're not happy, it's going to be crazy. So it was so difficult for me to explain to my mom, I'm going to leave my job as a senior, whatever they call it these days, of the company to start cleaning people's houses. If you think of it, where I come from, I'm from Cameroon originally. Many people, when they come here, they want to be an engineer, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be a doctor, they want to be, so it's already cut, the path is already straight. So when I came in and when I was an engineer, my mom was very happy. She'll go around telling people, oh, I'm an engineer and all of that. But now she could not comprehend telling people, oh, my son is a janitor, you know. So those are the kind of things but when you realize that, just go in and do it. And to piggyback on that, always be humble, because as an entrepreneurship, there's no guidebook for that. For example, I could say all of this, but when many people here, there are some people who live from here, start up companies, but they have different ways of going about it, and things are going to be difficult here. So. And I will tell you, as we keep going on, I'm sure more will come on. So let's move forward with the conversation.
Great. What is the most rewarding part about owning your own business, and what is the most challenging part about owning your own business?
The flexibility. So the flexibility, right now, I have a son, he's 6 months old. I have spent a lot of time with him. You know, I see him every day, every time. He's in the living room laughing and doing, I hear everything. So with that flexibility, I choose my schedule and all of that. The second rewarding part is I could actually see what I'm building grow in front of me. So I always tell my son, well, you're my son, you'll have brothers, and one of your brothers is called Soji Cleaners, right? Because with Soji Cleaners started here in Chicago, and then we launched in New York City. We haven't launched the consumer part yet because all of a sudden the commercial part took over. We launched within 2 days, all of a sudden, we could not handle the business. So I told them, okay, we need to slow down a little bit so as not to compromise quality. And then on the other side, of course, not having a boss. My boss right now is just my clients. So those are my boss. So I like that. And then the most challenging part of it will be, I would tell you, every day is different. So the learning curve is steep. Many people will say, okay, this is just a service job. This is just that. No, the learning curve is steep. For example, managing employees, right? Many people on this call have white collar jobs, and most of my employees are blue collar employees, right? So it makes it difficult because coming from IBM, from GE and all of that, I used to manage people who were well-educated, people who were very smart, people who could self-manage. But right now, I have to almost micromanage, which is something it's new to me. I hate micromanaging. I just want to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. And they say, if you're micromanaging, it means you did not hire well. And that's because I did not know the industry. So I went and hired people thinking, okay, this is how things will go. So that's the challenging part of it. And also the difficult clients. That's the most part. That's because I will tell you 99% of our clients, wonderful people, right? They are great. They want to use our service. They are happy. Even when we make mistakes, they come by, they still use our product and they use it, and then they help us, give us feedback to move forward. But you have other clients who maybe, as I will always say, the people who want to get you out of business. So for example, they always say customer is king. Personally, I don't think customer is always king. I think your customers are great. You should always respect them. And your customers and your employees, they are both, I'll call them co-kings, right? So your customer is a king, your employee also is your employees also are kings, right? Because you cannot compromise your employees by catering for your clients, and you cannot also compromise your clients by catering for your employees. Your employees are the most important asset, so you have to make sure you pay them well. For example, our lowest paid employee is $20 an hour, and this cleaning. So many people I know most people here make way more than that, but in our business, in this industry, you have people who actually earn $8 per hour. But us, our minimum wage is $20 an hour. And the reason for that is because I could not imagine myself living on anything less than $20 an hour. So I also think these people are very important. So I have to make sure they get at least something. But if I go higher than that, they will become bankrupt. So that's yeah, so that's it. I think that's the biggest challenge. And then the other challenges are the small things when you're starting a business that you don't look into. For example, when people start businesses, they have this business plan. You always forget, you have the company bank account, you start the company, you register the company, you have employees, you do this, but there are some tiny things that you become blindsided. So you never get to see them. Those are the things that actually come with surprises. And yeah, so those are the kind of things that you actually have to watch for, not the actually big things for the launch. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. Well, Elvis, I really appreciate that you mentioned basically the culture of care. You care about your employees, you care about your clients, and they're both just as important as the other. And that culture of care is something that we talk about at USD a lot, that we have such a small community, but it's a strong and powerful one. And we all look out for one another. So I appreciate that you took that from, part of what we talk about at USD to what you are applying to now. So we have a lot of actually great questions that are coming in through the chat and some pre-registered questions as well. So I would like to reserve some time for that. So I have one more Soji related question for you, and then I have some fun USD questions. So the last question about Soji is, Soji Cleaners started in Northern Illinois, or you're in Chicago, and recently expanded to New York City. So you're going through that process right now, which is really exciting. Can you explain a little bit more? You touched on it briefly, but a little bit more of the expansion process and how you plan to continue to grow your business now that you're in 2 cities.
Yes. So with New York, we started here in Chicago, and the reason we started in Chicago was because I live now in Chicago. And so I wanted to be able to, monitor everything, make sure we actually came up with a model and then replicate it into every city as we move forward. And then my son came, And I decided not to expand as quickly as possible. I just wanted to stay in Chicago, enjoy my son. And then once he gets to a certain age, then we decided to replicate. And then a few weeks ago, I decided, okay, we're going to move to New York City, and we decided to move. The way we move is we are a very low overhead company. So we try to make sure we don't have inventory, we don't have any rent. If you are looking for Soji Cleaners, you'll never see any building that is Soji Cleaners, right? So we make sure the only buildings we have is where we keep our products and all of that. So it's easier for us to start and move forward. And as we are moving forward, we are trying to build technologies, because at the beginning, I did the first 70 cleanings by myself, right? Because I wanted to take every details of the cleaning process and implement it where we build software. For example, I'll tell you one of the software we're building, right? The software is, this software we're building is to make sure employees are going to be self-managed. Because I was very frustrated, right? Because if I tell somebody we have to be there at 2 p.m., you should be there by 1:55. So when I told employees to arrive at a location, I told them, okay, you should get there at a certain time. If they are 2 minutes late, you get into trouble, right? So we decided, okay, right now we're going to make it in such a way that employees, we're going to have both apps, backends, and everything. So once they use our app, the employee is going to kick off, and the client will be able to track the employee as they are coming in. And then they will have repeated estimated time of arrival, because communication is key. So they can track the employee right to the point where the employee arrives. And once the employee arrives, because we're going to use, it's almost like Bobby's, where it tracks their GPS system. Once they get in there, automatically they get signed in. So they don't need to sign in, but just the GPS coordinate is going to sign them in. And automatically the employees, because we have employees who speak multiple languages. For example, here in Chicago, almost 2/3 of our employees speak Polish, and then the others speak Spanish. And many of them don't even speak English. So as they are moving forward, they don't need to fill in their timesheet. Automatically, this time just downloads into our system, and it gets integrated, and all of their timesheet gets there. And by the time we arrive, you send a feedback. Our clients are able to send feedback. Okay, this is not ready, this is ready, this is that. And then automatically it gets into the client's file. So there's all of that moves with the software we're using. It uses both artificial intelligence and also mobility. So that's what we're trying to do. And the reason we're doing this is because then when we get to the expansion process, it's easier for us to get into 50, 60 cities within the United States and also still keep our quality.
Great. Thank you for walking us through that. The last two questions I have for you before we go to audience Q&A are some USD ones, some quick hitters that I told you about earlier. So I will start with, where is your favorite spot on USD's campus?
My favorite will be somewhere SLP, Student Life Pavilion. I like that because I love food a lot. And when I was at USD, I spent a lot of time there. I worked at the bakery, the student bakery, so I was always there. And I loved it because I interacted with a lot of people within that place. So that would be my favorite, yeah.
That's a lot of people's favorite place. I know it's one of my favorite spots on campus. I, as well, love food. So,
and many people talk about, remember, there's a place, a reflection pool somewhere at is it the Justice, yep. Peace and Justice?
Yep, that's behind the Kroc Institute of Peace and Justice.
That's for people who are deep. I'm not deep at all. So because I'm sure, for people who are trying to, have peace of mind or think, I don't have that. I just love food. That's it.
Well, there's a lot of wonderful things about USD. It's beautiful and has great food. So there you go. We covered both right there. And then the last question I have is, what is your favorite memory at USD?
My favorite memory at USD was meeting my friends, right? My best man at my wedding, I met him in my class, right? We sat next to each other in engineering. And I have a friend, she's surely on this call, Christina. So at that point, Christina was dating that friend. And so we had all of this, there's this like community that we built and we still communicate. And those people I've gone throughout for the last 10 years, those people, I still check my WhatsApp and I see those people, they keep texting if they see something happening. So that connection is very strong, right? So with that, my favorite memory is the day I met this group of friends. And it was very automatic, it was very organic. And all of us met around the International Students Office. So this was during the orientation period. And we became friends, and many people have gone throughout the world, but we still stay connected. So that's, yeah.
I love that. That's wonderful. The people are your favorite part of USD.
Oh, the people at USD, wonderful. I joined all kinds of group, right? For example, I was part of university ministry. I was part of the choir and all of that. I really love all the people I met during that period. And many of them were at my wedding. So that was good.
Very fun. And then the friend that you mentioned who's on the call, Christina, for all those individuals out there, Christina, the reason why Elvis is here today with us is through Christina, because she is the New York Torero Club president. So she works with our awesome club committee on working on great programming for New York toreros, but then in this virtual world, pretty much all toreros. So shout out to Christina and to all of our committee members who are on today's call. I really appreciate your hard work. In addition to, we have Stephanie Collins as well, who is our Chicago Torero Club president here. So it's really good. And I know we can't see your faces, but I can see your names. So thank you so much for all your hard work this year. All right, Elvis. So that's the end of my Q&A with you, but we have a handful of questions from the audience. So I will start with the first that came in from Rowan, and that is and you briefly touched about your tech in relation to Soji, but what kinds of new technology will you use to scale Soji?
So the new technologies, some are proprietary, which I cannot share now, but everything that I'll share is something that is common knowledge. For example, mobility, because something similar, companies have been using it now for the past 10 or 11 years. So Uber uses that for moving from one place to another. So we'll use mobility. We're going to use AI, a lot of AI. And the AI is going to be more on asset management. So we're going to track all of our tools and everything. And because, for example, if you have a laundry and dry cleaning is also a big part of our business. So we have to track everything from point A to point B. And in addition to that, we are also going to cover that with a lot of blockchain, because blockchain technology is going to, for example, when you put the clothes, because if we have a different part of our laundry, which is for students, right? Our student laundry is very big. We have close to 28 universities that we take care of right now. And the amount of laundry that we do in a weekend is more than 1 million pounds of laundry. So with all of that, you have to separate everything to make sure you don't mix people's laundry. You have to make sure the laundry moves from point A to point B. You have to make sure it's delivered to the right person and all of that. So that's where the blockchain technology comes in. Because of that, there's a timestamp which will make sure it doesn't replicate the time. So that's what we're using right now. Yeah.
Great, thank you. How did you get the name? Stephanie wrote in asking, how did you get the name Soji Cleaners?
Okay, so the company itself is called Spotless Technology. So that's the name of our company. But Soji Cleaners came in because when we started expanding into cities, because we started doing our research, almost every city there's a spotless cleaner. And we thought, okay, that would be different. And some of those companies actually had poor reputation. So because of that, we decided to step back and actually look for a name that will fit the business. We decided on Soji. Soji in Japanese means clean. And we wanted to look for something Japanese because I am a fan of Marie Kondo. So I used to watch that show and yeah, and that's how we came with it. So we said Japanese, clean, Soji Cleaners.
Man, what a great show. What a good inspiration to get your name from, for sure. We have another question about cleaning companies, because you mentioned about the fact that so many different cleaning companies in certain areas are called Spotless Technology or Cleaners or whatever it may be. So what differentiates you and Soji from the other cleaning companies that people can utilize?
Soji Cleaners have a lot of differentiating factors. One is the quality. I know that's a cliche because everybody say they have quality, but us, we actually take it from beginning to end, right? So from the moment we start with a client, we make sure we send the right people. And when we send the right people, we make sure if the client is not satisfied with their cleaning within the, let me say 24 hours, we send back a group of people to come clean to make sure the client is accepted. So you don't pay us until you're satisfied. So that's one other thing. The second thing that I see is the fact that we want that we are in terms of consistency as we grow and expand throughout the United States. We want to make sure everything remains the same. And then the other part of Soji Cleaners, pricing, right? Our prices are fixed, $30 per hour per employee, and that's what we do. So you come in, if you come in, we spend whatever time, we just charge you at that time, you can see everything there. And one other thing about Soji Cleaners that most companies don't have in the cleaning business is our retention. So at Soji Cleaners, all the employees I have been with us right from day one. Well, we've added employee, but I've never had any employee switch or move to any other job. We employ both career cleaners, and then the second thing we employ is even people who are going to move on and do something else. So within our company, we have many incentives that we give to our cleaners. The cleaners, they have free English education. So we pay for that. And then we make sure all of their kids, we take care of all of their SAT prep to make sure they go to great colleges. And we also have, I've hired somebody who helps their kids, or it's a grandkid or something, to help them through the test taking process, application process into college and all of that. The second thing is, because we're still new and we don't have a lot of capital, what we do is we have an investment arm within our company where all the tips from the employees get into that bank. So all the employees, when you get your tip, you put it in there. And with that, we use it actually to invest. So for example, they have 12 Bitcoins, right? So that's a lot of money. That's, if you want to use that, that's almost about 700,000 that the employees have in that bank. And they use that money, we use that money in case if they have their kids, their kids want to go to college, we can always try to support. If they want to if let me say, for example, somebody's parent is dead or something, we help. In times of just hardship, we all help during that period. And also, but whatever you put into the bank, you get that back. And whatever the investment comes up to it, that's what we use to support the whole community.
That's great. Another example of the culture of care and investing in your employees, which is really sweet to hear, especially during a pandemic when there's a lot of uncertainty and things can switch, at the drop of a hat. So that's really nice to hear. But speaking of things switching really quickly, and it's a pandemic, so a lot of people have been unemployed. We chatted briefly in our practice session about the fact that Soji is expanding, so it's hiring. So you mentioned that you pay your cleaners $20 per hour, but I wanted to ask you if, say there's college students who are on this call who are looking for a summer job or something like that, or maybe looking to pick up a couple extra dollars. Are you hiring? And then two, is there opportunity, in the future for people who might be interested in maybe some sort of higher level position at your company? Is there opportunity there?
Yes, we are hiring. Yes, 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 all the way. And especially the fact that we also have a student service. So for example, all the universities we operate in now, the students actually run the show. If you head over to Urbana-Champaign, that's University of Illinois, when you head there, the students are the ones who pick up the laundry. The students are the ones who go and drop it. The students are the ones who run the show. So everybody knows which student picks up from them. And we are hiring as we expand. Hopefully this fall, we're going to be in San Diego. So we're going to be University of San Diego, our school, of course, UCSD, SDSU, all of that. And then for people who want to actually come and work eventually, starting right now, all of our software engineers that we hired they're all experienced engineers, but we're looking as we move forward towards the fall, we're going to actually hire engineers because I have, it's called Babila's lab. Weird, sorry. So in my lab for spotless technology, which is not part of Soji Cleaners, the main company itself, there's a lab where we try just to see whatever crazy ideas I have, we test it and we come up with models to see how we can run. And then if that works, so we're hiring people from there, people who can add value. And then for even the cleaning, if you can clean, great, because all of our employees who work for Soji Cleaners, even the executives, everybody has to learn how to clean. So I also clean, just to make sure if you're building software, you should know, okay, if somebody has to clean 3 bedrooms, how long is it going to take? And then how long is it going to take from them to move from point A to point Z after cleaning that? So that when we start doing automatic scheduling, because that's something we're building, then they can know, okay, we can move from point A to point B. And yes, we hire, and I will tell you, our pay is going to be a little bit better than most. Yeah.
Nice. I like the little plug at the end. Well, great. You guys, you heard it. You heard it here first. He's hiring, he's hiring, he's hiring. So
yeah, and I'm hiring because we're also starting a watch company. So we need people who are going, especially in that company, we're going to hire lots of people who are in terms of the marketing side of the, of the business. So they are going to, yeah.
Great. So then I have 2 more questions. The one that came through from Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn. She's on our New York Tour Club committee is, do you have a need for mechanical engineers also, or is it just software engineers?
Right now, software engineers, because they can help to build, but I'm a mechanical engineer. You don't have to come there and do mechanical engineering stuff. For example, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm not doing anything mechanical engineering now. So you can come and change your mind. So we still hire people, and we are going to pay you on par with what the market will pay for you if you took a mechanical engineering job. Because for example, the watch company, that's different because it's going to be a global company. But the people we're hiring there, unfortunately, all of them are Swiss. So everybody that works who build the watches are Swiss because they have done it, and they have done it for many years. But we need people who can drive the sales from point A to point B. And I do not believe to do sales, you have to be a business major or something. Anybody can. So if you're a mechanical engineer, please come. Who knows, you might come up with a great idea, and we'll need that to build a Babila lab.
Wonderful. Last question I have for you, Elvis, and it's actually from our friend Elisa over in the School of Engineering, is the School of Engineering has created an engineering and entrepreneurship program. So basically everything that you are combined into one, which is really cool. And that supports students who are entrepreneurial like you. Would you consider becoming one of our mentors to help one of our current students who are interested in starting their own business and learning more about your career path?
Oh, yes, definitely. And I will be glad to invest in your company too, because who knows? I love it. I love because I stayed because I don't know, are they still in Loma right now? Loma? Are they
Yes.
in Loma? Okay. Yeah. I spent a lot of my time in Loma. So that Loma Hall, it's something very, and we all know something, it's the rooms are dark, but I'm sure everything is great now because I stopped by and I saw all the techie stuff that they have now. But let's get back to it. Yes, I would like to be a mentor, and I would like to actually have somebody, move from point A through point Z. If you want to do something risky, hey, let's invest and see how things go. So I'm also going to see if I can invest in your if I believe in it. Yes, definitely.
Great. And actually, Loma Hall has expanded now. So it has a new name. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't get this wrong. It's the Bellenic Engineering Center. It's even more beautiful and grand than we both went to when we both went to school. So it's definitely something to check out the next time you're in San Diego. But I think that about wraps up our time. So Elvis, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I'm very sorry. I'm in my room. There's light. The lights came in and left and all of that. So my lighting is not good. Sorry. And I'm going through a lot of crazy stuff today. So yeah, but thank you so much for inviting me.
It was great. Thank you so much. All right, so everyone, that about wraps up our time. We want to thank Elvis, of course, but then also everyone who logged into today's session and those who will be watching at a later time. We thank you for taking the time to listen into this really fun, informative talk with Elvis. He really gave you a good glimpse as to what his life has been as a mechanical engineer, but then also as an entrepreneur. He has a lot of experience. So please feel free to reach out to him should you have any questions. And he said it, he's hiring, he'll invest in your business, whatever it is. So he's a really good contact to have moving forward. Also, if you would like to learn more about the Alumni Association, the New York Torero Club, or the Chicago Torero Club, or other programs that we have out of the Office of Alumni Relations, please email me at meorourke@sandiego.edu. We also have Facebook and LinkedIn pages for those groups. So it's as easy as it sounds. Look on Facebook for Chicago USD, Chicago Torero Club, same with New York, and same on LinkedIn. So we will send all of that information in the thank you email as well. And once again, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you at another USD alumni event soon. Take care, everyone.